It's hard to believe that this is your reality and that this is real, because you've been fighting for justice. You've been trapped in the maze. You've been running for your life. You've been searching and seeking, looking at yourself face on, tackling some really difficult identity issues. These identity issues are paradoxical and are giving me serious Inception vibes. This reading is going to be a psychological thriller, but I don't know how thrilled you are going to be with understanding the truth of you and what you've been through. We have the Rider-Waite Tarot in the middle. We have the TV Tarot either side. That is the Hermitologist deck, personally made by me. The Maze Runner card represents justice, and the Black Mirror card represents the Seven of Cups. This is TV Tarot Edition 1 and 2, so when you check out all the other readings on the channel, you will see there is another Seven of Cups from the different version of the deck, so do not be confused. But let's keep diving, because this is significant, this is important. I want to put a disclaimer out with you guys first and foremost, okay? Because when I dive into my Black Mirror card, straight away I am dealing with serious psychological warfare. I am dealing with people with potentially mental health issues or fear of mental health issues. There is nothing more scary than being scared about your mental health and questioning whether or not you're stable or not. And I could cry with upset and fear and panic and devastation over the millions, in fact, millions of people who are either wrongly diagnosed or outrightly diagnosed by people with no qualifications. Your mum, brother, sister, uncle, auntie, cousin, family member suddenly thinks they are a psychologist and they are a master in psychiatry, and they've decided to diagnose you. Even someone you know who is a psychologist or a psychiatrist but is also a family or friend, you haven't gone to them for any clinical service, have decided to diagnose you. In some instances, it is absolutely necessary for the narcissist to wake up and realise that they've been called a narcissist and hopefully potentially reflect and awaken to who they really, really are. But in other instances, it's absolutely disgusting to think that you can outrightly assume that that person that's not behaving in the way in which you want them to behave is schizophrenic, bipolar, mentally ill, and suffering with dissociative personality disorder, with I'm getting random syndromes that somebody Googled online. I'm getting the weirdest ideologies of mental health, and this person's just dashing out diagnoses, and you're like, you've never ever studied psychology or human functioning, neurocognition, mental health, well-being, brain mechanics of any kind. But because someone is telling you something you don't like, suddenly they're all of these things, and you're slandering their name and you're diagnosing them because they've called you out on your behaviour. It's very, very toxic. So I want to bring some healing energy towards you today, because it's hard to believe that you are not who they said you were. This gives me imposter syndrome. This gives me someone who's been clean off clinical and pharmaceutical medication for a year or so now. I'm being guided to share some stories about me, but we haven't got all day. So I'm going to try and link my life examples in with this so you get clarity of where you're at and what's going on, but really hone into a strong, clear story for you so you know if this really resonates with you and you feel guided and secure in your next steps in life, because this is justice for some of you guys today. This reading is timeless. Whenever you find it, you find it. But today, watching this right now, this is your justice, because you were told, and I want to get into my child I have seen when I go into my kind of godly channel and the divine is speaking through me and my masculine persona takes over and I think I am Hercules or Zeus or a king of some kind, right? Because I'm super theatrical with it. But that's the charge and the vibration that comes over me, and I just become a channel for it, because it is that higher level exquisitation and the speech of honor and dedication to this journey that you have had to go on and master on your own whilst they called you out of your blood clot name, right? And well done. The two stories that the divine keeps slapping me in the third eye with, going share that, share that, share that, share that, is the story when I first activated my clairvoyance again in adulthood and continued to keep having visions and family members pop up in my environment. I was on medication, 12 tablets a day, from IBS, because I was getting tested for everything because I wasn't well, from IBS to chronic pain to, I guess they were kind of some kind of supplements. I'm not sure. 12 a day. So for the life of me, I can't tell you what they were, but it was 12 tablets a day at one point. Could have been like folic acid as well. I don't know if vitamins were thrown in as well, because I was deficient, or iron was definitely one of them. It was 12 tablets a day I was taking over and over again. None of it was for mental health concerns related to my clairvoyance. That was all happening kind of hush and personally to me. But physically and emotionally, depressive episodes, like low mood was the only thing as a psychological factor. So I've got low mood, but I've got serious chronic pain, can't get out of the bed. I've got severe inflammation, incredibly high inflammation markers in my blood, incredibly abnormal. I'm getting invested. I'm getting tested for lupus. I'm being told I've got polymyalgia, which is just a fancy word of saying like joint pain. I've got all this high inflammation markers and in my blood, and I'm anemic, and your low mood is obviously impacting on all of these things as well. So yeah, take some amitriptyline for your low mood, take naproxen for your joints not working too well, and then you're going to need some painkillers, and then your iron's low, and then also your folic could do with a boost. So take all of this every day. Yeah, this time, ridiculous. So you're getting told to take a lot of different medication, or being given a lot of different advice for a lot of different symptoms and conditions, and it's not clarified. For maybe about 3 years, with intermittent periods of me testing out all of these 12 tablets, I was trying to assess, do I need them? What are they doing for me? What's going on? At the same time, I'm studying spirituality. I'm going to the spiritualist church. I'm meeting other mediums, and they're awakening me and teaching me who I am. I was coming online. I was becoming who I was destined to be. Yeah? I was fully awakening to who I am. And that's one example of breaking this psychological thriller and this trap, like I'm sick and I'm dying and I'm mentally ill, there's got to be something wrong with me, something's wrong, everyone can tell I'm not normal. That's one example. Another example of this as well, when I was in a very difficult, dark grief cycle and lost 3 family members and was going through homelessness, yeah, and I'm a spiritual being who is a leader running my own business, is going to uni, doing 100 different things while still being homeless, while still in disputes with family, disassociated from friends because of my grief. I'm trying to heal and still make a living and not be homeless for the rest of my life. Yeah, I decided to pull away and stop talking to people that were negative influences on my reality, that were taking from me, that were depleting my energy, my time, my money, everything. My life was getting worse the moment I was around certain individuals, because they were imprinting toxic psychological stressors on me, some of them unintentionally, others intentionally trying to destroy me. Yeah. And it's hard to believe. It's hard to come to terms with because you're busy fighting off your own demons. You didn't realize that someone else around you was sending their demons. And every time you got back up and got a little bit better, here we go again. Attack, attack, attack. So you've got to shut down, pull away, dissociate, which is really bad. Dissociation. You're losing your mind. You can't dissociate from reality. I'm a hermit here. I'm a shaman. I'm dissociating from all of your toxic traits that have limited me from really becoming who I'm meant to be. Because if I stay with you guys, you're going to bound me to Christianity. You're going to bound me to one religion. None of you even go to church or read the Bible. I'm still reading the Bible more than any of you, but you lot think you know me and my faith and tell me what I should be doing in my life and talk to me about sin and flesh. Come on now, have respect for everyone's unique journey, yeah? I'm a child of God regardless. Yet the judgment's there. So you stop talking to people for a few weeks. You pull away. You ignore voicemails. You ignore harassment and abusive messages that normally would have warranted a response or a clapback. But you let people violate you through voice note, through phone, through messages, through shit talking. You let people chat about you all around the town, running your name in their mouth back and forth, and you just let it go. You didn't engage, you didn't say anything, you just held the truth and knew who you were and let it go. The incident I'm being told to share with you guys is after pulling away, getting clarity and strength, you then go back to have a conversation with that person, if they're family and they're close to you, family or friend, someone you've known for years, you then go back to have a conversation with them and they attack you. This is where the red flag shows up, and this is where you know you must break the mirror and you must break the illusion. Some of you, this is related to being black or a racism issue, yeah? A real racial divide I get here. Cracks in the infrastructure, yeah? Of some kind of lineage or ancestry or stereotype, yeah? So when I stopped talking to a toxic individual who was harassing me and being very abusive to me verbally, who I identified some abusive patterns of behaviour with throughout my life, and in childhood I addressed some very serious things with them, they refused to acknowledge it, laughed it off. I was working through healing and grieving and recovering from homelessness, so I just let it go, close them out. But the moment that I wouldn't speak to them again, I start getting voicemails that are outrightly, or voice notes that are outrightly abusive, but then I'm getting voicemails. I haven't spoken to somebody for 6 months and they have now sent me a voicemail telling me that I have bipolar and I'm mentally ill and I should go and see a specialist. It's hard to believe. I haven't spoken to you for 6 months. Sorry guys, I've got to get it out. This is the channel. So whoever I'm connecting with, what is your narrative and why does this relate and why am I being spun this story to give you time and time again from this point of view as well? I have not spoken to you for 6 months. When we last spoke, I addressed some very serious personal things that were important to me and my healing journey, my growth, my ascension, my healing, my recovery, my spiritual safe haven. You dishonoured and disrespected that. You harassed me and were abusive verbally. You crossed my boundaries and done multiple things on and offline that showed me that you were stalking, stalkerish, possessive, outrightly wrong for your behaviour. I didn't notice how bad your behaviour was and was contemplating whether or not I should reach back out to you. But after 6 months of no contact, you have left me a voicemail and outed yourself. outed yourself as a narcissistic, gaslighting, evil, vindictive, controlling, manipulative, psychologically abusive individual. Because in the same breath, you say, I love you. I love you so much, and I don't understand why you don't just pick up the phone and talk to me. I don't know what's wrong with you. You must have mental health problems. I'm sure you've got bipolar or something. You must have something wrong with you. You must be schizophrenic. You must have borderline personality disorder. First and foremost, spell schizophrenia for me. Go on. Secondly, spell borderline personality disorder. Spell it. Go on. I'll wait. While you're there, spell bipolar. Go on, please. Just let's just close this case, shall we? So I'm talking to someone who has been projected on again and again by someone that you loved and cared about, and the illusion and the mirror is breaking, and it's forsakening. Because now not only do you see who they really are and who they've been in your life all these years, spinning narratives like that, they don't like who you're becoming. They don't like your behaviour. They don't like who you've been. This is justice for you to see the truth. And that was one of the key moments in my life that made me cry and broke me. And it broke me because I see the truth now. I see that when you're losing grip of me, you tell me I'm the problem. You tell me I'm broken. You tell me I'm sick. You project all of your dark demonic fears onto me. You can't question my mental health when I study it and have done since I was a child, because mentally I was targeted and abused in childhood. I'm armoured up and protected my psyche for me and the collective, because I knew demons like you were real. So now I cry and I shed a tear because God knew I needed this protection. And this is even more fascinating today because the Maze Runner is the justice card. The Maze Runner is potentially one of my favourite movies of all time. Haven't watched it in ages. I haven't spoken about it in publicly for ages. But The Maze Runner really does something to me personally. It means so much to me as a movie. Not only does it have a Mel Arman in it, who I loved growing up. If you are from the UK and you are born in the 80s, I'm pretty sure you remember the TV show The Bill TV show, cops and robbers style. Greatest TV show of the 90s, possibly. Better than EastEnders, in my opinion. The Bill was the greatest. I'm going to need to go back and watch some of The Bill, wherever I can find it. Classic. But let's talk about The Maze Runner, because this is the story I'm telling you now, and I'm being taught in the moment that I'm teaching you. The divine's healing me in the same moment. And now I've got a eyelash on my spectacles. So give me a moment. I'm just trying to blow it off. I can't quite grab it. But I've got an eyelash hanging there, which is obviously meant to be good luck as well. So there's a little bit of luck for you in this healing story today. So glad I can share this, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me now. If you are tapped in, we're about to dive really deep into the Maze Runner. But thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. It's not easy for me to share my journey with you and go to these psychological places. And sometimes I feel guided to open up a little bit more. And I've just shared 2 intensive stories in my life that were really significant key windows of time for me. And even I get tongue-tied trying to speak about this with you. Really sensitive stuff that I was kind of like blocked at the throat chakra for talking about in the past. That person that was throwing accusations at me, trying to make me feel insecure and gaslight me and make me feel like I had mental health problems. That was their safety blanket, because they needed me to be weak and docile and broken, because God forbid I stand up against them and out them for their abusive behaviours. God forbid I get the strength to really see what they've done to me over the last few years and report them, out them, annihilate them, stand up against them, get the evidence I need to take them down. God forbid. Do you get what I mean? So the demon will rise, and the demon will get stronger and stronger and more aggressive when threatened and challenged. Yeah? And I say that in reverse because now I'm getting ideologies of people that are really passive as well. They're giving me a lot of passive abusers, yeah, that abuse you passively as well. If you're like me, I'm loud, I'm fiery. I'll rather take on someone who's going to go toe to toe with me verbally. Like, call it as you fucking see it. I will say it to your face. I will speak on it. What's going on? What have you said? What have I supposedly done? Let's address it. Call the police. Get everyone around the table. Let's have a conference call on this. Let's get it done. Yeah. But in some instances, you can't entertain the toxic, and cold turkey is the best, and silence is the best when you're dealing with narcissistic behaviours. But also, you've got to be aware when you're dealing with someone who's incredibly passive. Another TV show I'm recommending right now is, what is that called? Oh, it's so important. It's called Playing Nice on ITVX. Playing Nice. One of the characters in it is incredibly good at playing nice. Vindictive, evil, mean. Really, really sly, cunning, evil as fuck. But he's so good at playing nice, so passive. He's basically stalking, tracking, observing everything this couple and their kid are doing. Studies them, knows them inside out, investigating them. But he's playing like he's not. And is using every piece of evidence he has against them. Corruption to the highest. So I'm talking to someone who's really caught up in something toxic, and it's really taken a toll on your mental health and psychological well-being. I'm talking to someone who has been outrightly violated and accused of things that aren't true psychologically. Like someone's tried to tarnish your mental. And that's the worst thing to do. Because if they target your mental and you feel like you can't move beyond this, then they win and you stay trapped. They want you to stay trapped exactly where you are. Yeah? So in the Maze Runner, every single month they bring up a human being. They bring up a boy, they bring up a boy, they bring up a boy every single time up out of this cage. And then the boy comes and it's a massive community of boys. But at the end, up comes one girl. And this time the girl's not, they're saying this is the last or something like that. And there's no one else coming. And they've only ever lived in this tiny little space. Yeah, this gives me council housing. This gives me estates, communities that we live in. This gives me living in a hostel or supported accommodation. This gives me being poor and never really leaving the borough, never really leaving the area code, never really leaving the block. Yeah, like when I was staying in my supported accommodation, everyone in the surrounding environment with a massive hostel right next to it as well, YMCA, with all of this going on in the local community, no one really ranged too far away from the base, because where else is there to go? Everyone's strapped for cash. Everyone's struggling financially. There's a big wide world out there and nobody really moves from the block, you know? And that happens in every single community where institution and government and that community ethos is you are stereotypically this and this is your land and place, so just stay here. Everyone stays where they're at, and that's why we get postcode wars, that's why we get beef, that's why we get all of these problems, because people think they don't belong in other areas. Yeah, and that's how, like, someone from North London is not necessarily going to travel over to South London. East London's not going to necessarily travel over to West London unless there's intent or purpose or someone you know there. Not a lot of people are just going to go out and explore. And that's a culture, and especially if you're more deprived, because there's nothing for you there. We haven't got money to spend in West London. We haven't got money to spend in Central London. We're traveling. Why are we traveling? We're not just going to travel without purpose. There's not enough wanderers in this world who are just willing to go out there and explore, you know? So, and it's dangerous in certain instances to be caught slipping in the wrong ends, you know? So what's fascinating in Maze Runner is this maze opens daily. The gateway to the maze opens daily, but only a few go in. They explore it now and then. But now it's getting more life-threatening because things are coming out of the maze and attacking them. Psychologically, they don't understand what's going on. They don't remember life before the maze. Their mind is wiped out before the maze. So all they know is they wake up, they don't even remember their name. Some of them, after coming back and connecting with, it gives me like Peter Pan, all the boys that come together, right? But to me, every single person here in this story, in the maze, is a victim of abuse. They've all been abused, and they've all been psychologically manipulated, and they've all been scarred in the mental, yeah? And they've all been made to feel like they're not allowed to be free. And there has been a crack in their psyche, in their light source, yeah? Their crack in their armor, like for me it's giving Earth Angel with a cracked wing, yeah? So I'm connecting with a whole load of light workers who have been stripped of their light, a whole load of angels who have been robbed of their wings. We haven't even got to the Rider-Waite yet. In the past, with the Fool card, we are connecting with someone who took a risk. You took a risk and went off the edge, but you ended up in a maze. You didn't know where you was going to go. You didn't know what was going to come out of this for you. Some of you dived into your first tarot reading. You bought your first tarot deck. You went to your first mediumship. You've done something. This could be in business or career. It hasn't got to be spiritual. But the only thing that can really defeat psychological warfare like this often is spiritual. Or it is finding someone you truly, truly love. But I don't see anyone else in this reading. This is career as well. Emperor's out, right? The future's Emperor. The middle is Knight of Wands. So it's letting me know you took a risk to move towards something really, really passionate in your life. Something that you loved and adored. This is my story coming through too. So I'll share it with you as we go, right? And right now, you have stumbled on something amazing. Businessman, businesswoman, founder, CEO, whatever it is, entrepreneur. You could be a cake baker. It hasn't got to be CEO level, but I just go to the top of the chain and just grab CEO because sometimes it's just easier to sit with a label like that to generalize. But either way, you're a chief. You're the chief here, period. You're a chief, you're an executive, and you have your own office, your own space. You are the officer and the commander of your reality. Yeah? But you've been in two minds about whether or not you can really, really do this, whether or not this is really, really the way. And no one else has kind of been around you from what I can see, but distantly they have. Like, imagine how much work I had to do for the 6 months I was away from that individual that was abusing me and harassing me. I was away from them for 6 months, right? And I was having therapy in that window of time. I was building the businesses. I was getting my life back. I was bearing in mind I had lost 3 family members in 2020. And one of them was my dad who died of a heroin overdose. I'm healing. I'm in hibernation. I'm taking care of myself. And you're being abusive and harassing me. So I'm not talking to you. And you've still found time 6 months later to come back and harass me even more. But this time you're trying to stick the knife in because you're praying and hoping that you can touch a nerve with me that's going to make me run back into your arms and feel like I'm a broke little lamb. Because the broke little lamb is perfect for you. Where's my broke little lamb? Where's my black sheep? Where's my black sheep? I need my black sheep back. I don't want all these white sheep anymore. They're too good at following. It's that black sheep I like to make fun of. Someone get me my black sheep back. Yeah? That's when you're under siege and you're under attack. Someone wants their black sheep back because they noticed you're not there. And the black sheep stands out compared to the others. So imagine that. You don't really care about the rest of the herd. And now the rest of the herd realise you don't care about them because you're pining for the black sheep. And the black sheep is only black because you covered it in soot. You made it look dirty. Imagine the black sheep was actually white all along, but it was just covered in the dirt of the others. That's what God gave me last week in another reading when I was channeling. The black sheep isn't really black. It's just so wrapped in the toxicity of the others. It takes and becomes one. Like an empath, like a sponge. Everybody else's energy just goes straight onto the black sheep. So everyone is looking as white, fresh to death, clean wool, beautifully smooth. But the black sheep is the truest representation of the whole collective. Because like cats that groom each other, together they ride or die and they stay clean. It's the vision I'm getting in my head of my cats. The way my cats look after each other is fascinating. I can just watch them sometimes and they're just practically making love to each other. And I just sit there and watch them and laugh and it just gives me a massive smile. It's one of the happiest moments I have in my days, or every single month there's some windows of time where the cats are making love to each other. And obviously not in a sexualized way. I've got 2 girl cats. This isn't sex, okay? This is grooming and licking. This is cleaning each other. This is cuddling and this is pawing each other. This is having little cat conversations. This is snuggled up and keeping each other warm. This is them nestled into each other and just being real protectors and confidence for each other. And they're just living their lives. And sometimes they don't realise that I catch them and I can't let them catch me watching them or smiling or nearly crying with like soppy emotional tears because they're just so beautifully magical when they do that. And the way they are when they start getting bossy, and sometimes one of them's like, come here, what's that on your ear? Let me clean that. Let me groom you a little bit more. Let me lick that there. And the other one's like, well, there's something on me here. I don't quite like it. And then she starts licking her in that spot. Like, I'm very intuitive and I'm very animal friendly with it. But I can also scream and shout at them, so don't get me wrong, I'm not sweet all the time. But we are human, okay? So I say that with awareness that there is polarity here, without being mentally ill, may I add. No matter what the harasser and abuser says. But it's so lovely to watch them and just see them in their element before I have to shoo them away for clawing at my favourite pair of Paluzzo pants. But that's the point here. The community you're meant to be in and part of, they're not going to let you stay covered in soot. You're not going to look dirty and messy. And this is giving me another story. I can't believe how deep we're going today and how personal this is. And this is quite hard for me. But I'll say it. Since I've got to this age, I'm now 37, and I've been doing a lot more work around abuse in different ways, in harsher ways than I ever did before. So I worked in early years for many years. And I guess because we work in early years and we work with children, we're a lot more protected from the awful things that surround children. We're less aware of it. We're just there to have fun and make Play-Doh and do cool activities with them and motivate them and keep them entertained and just create amazing, stimulating environments for them to flourish in. That's what we do. But now that I've started to develop technology and I've really understood the risks, and I've started to look at the dark trappings of the internet and the underworld of it all and the darkness that really exists and what people are really like, and I've had to deal with my own childhood trauma, I've looked back on my life and had some real awakenings that I didn't really receive before, or I've looked at myself in such a different way, you know? So with the Maze Runner card of them waking up in the maze with no real memory, it's like waking up and remembering what life was really like for you. And when I think about how I used to go to school in the early days, like from year 8, probably about 13 years old, 14, 15 years old, I was really, really trampy. I was really, really unkept. I had no money. I wasn't given money. My collar I keep getting visions and keep seeing the collar on my school shirt. It's practically black and grey because I had eczema as well. So my skin would just rub on the back, my neck, the eczema on my neck would just rub off and it would be all over my collar, and I would wear that. And sometimes I would be out in the top that I had, and I only had like 2 or 3 tops, and I would wear them anytime I wasn't at school. So that would be all at the weekends or every day after school, and there'll be stains on them and they'll stay there, you know. And you start looking back and going, but hold on, why wasn't I cared for in that way? Why did nobody wash that? Why, like, I had a t-shirt that was my favorite t-shirt, and the armpits on it were yellow, and I wore it all the time. And it was like, why did no one wash that? Why was I not cared for in that way? Like, so when you start acknowledging neglect, and I acknowledged neglect and emotional abuse and emotional neglect in me from a young age, but to realize even at 13, 15 and 16, I was still really, really neglected. You don't realize how that has a knock-on effect when you're 18, 19, 20, 21. You don't realize how you're shaped around hygiene and health and how you dress and what you wear and what is and isn't okay. And I had poor hygiene for a long time because I didn't understand, or I wasn't even aware of what higher levels of hygiene looked like and what a good standard of cleanliness was, because I wasn't taught those skills. And actually a part of the abuser narrative is don't teach her to be clean. Don't teach her to look good or be her best, because it's better for her to look this way. We don't want her to escape our trappings. And this is good for her. This is good for us because we get away with what we've done when we let this version of her grow instead of the beautiful version of her. And that is for me to say as well, because I'm tell them about the beauty. And for me, the more I kind of went to therapy and the more that I kind of found myself and the more that I got rid of all of the limiting beliefs and the negative narratives and the people around that tear you down instead of lift you up, I started to look the most beautiful I've ever looked. I've started to love myself at a whole new level. I really fell into self-love and I felt great about myself, regardless of size, weight, up and down, whether it fluctuates or not. I feel amazing. I felt amazing. And when I started to realize, wow, I look incredible. Wow, I feel fantastic. What is that? Where has that been? Where has this version of me been all this time? Oh, I wasn't allowed out. I wasn't allowed out. The real me wasn't allowed out of me. I was trapped inside of me. And this is the mirror issue. And I get someone who is mixed race and not black enough for the others. I get someone who is too black. I'm talking to someone who's like dark skin, ebony, stormzy complexion and feels like they're too black. And they've always struggled with their skin colour because they're too black again, you know? And I've really decided in my career to tackle colorism because I see it all the time and I speak on it. And I get a lot of bollocking. I get a lot of attitude. I used to get a lot of backlash from people around me because everyone would rather act like colorism's not a thing or racism's not a thing, especially when you are a victim of it, right? So what I will notice, because this black keeps looking at me on the black mirror card, with the 7 of Cups, it's like, if you're mixed raced and you're light skin and supposedly you act too white or your mum's white or something like that, then you already lose black credibility in some cases. Stay with me, yeah? That I hope that's not true, and I like to say it's not true, but as a researcher, as someone who studies this, as someone who is also mixed, I study and research and I go deep within these kind of conversations, a lot of mixed race people will say, no, I'm fine. No, I'm absolutely fine. No, it's not an issue at all. But there are a lot of studies out there and a lot of different case studies that do talk about aggression, social confusion, identity and limitation between whether or not that person associates more with, for example, because we've got loads of mixed people on the line and loads of mixed people in the world, but the example we'll use is black and white because it's the easiest in the now moment. But feel free to shout out your multiculturalism in the comments, because we love every single person on this planet, alien included, extraterrestrial alien included, right? And so with that in mind, we are talking specifically about for example, someone who is mixed race, really, really fair, and has a parent that is practically, or a single come from a single parent home where it's just the white parent, the way that they will be looked at by the black social group if they try to integrate would be quite different if they were a more so darker mixed race person who was growing up in a single parent with a black leading parent. Yeah? Because firstly, stereotypes are real to a certain degree, and culture makes the man or woman, the community and social group you come from makes a difference. So it's a lot of conversations around your identity, your community and your culture. For example, in Maze Runner, if we bring it back to that, all the boys acted like boys until the one girl came in. Then they knew something was up. And they're all screaming and going, why is there a girl in there? There's a girl in there. There's a girl in here. Why is there a girl in here? We're all boys, you know. And that could be in your career and in business as well. If you're trying to fit in to a community group or social group and it's a male-dominated field, a male-dominated sport, you can't even play because you got to play a women's and men's sports, but you're coming into an industry, a field or a career, a lifestyle choice where you're being challenged by either race, gender or both. And as a result, it's taken its toll on your psyche and made you feel like you're an imposter in some instances, but you're not. And you're allowed to be exactly who you are and find your way. As a really little girl, I struggled sometimes when I was with my white family and we went away. I remember one incident where we was at the caravan park and we was going swimming, and I was the only black person in the whole place. My brother was there as well, I believe. So we were the only black kids there. But soon as we came into the pool area, I was really young, I just looked around and it felt like everybody had stopped and froze and just stared at me. And I remember walking around the pool and just going, I'm the only black one here, Nan. Nan, why have I got to be the only black one? And it's funny to me because she's laughing and she's aware that that's exactly how your dad used to feel. And she's like, but what? I'm like, but why are they all staring at me? Where are the other black people? Why are there no black people here, Nan? They're going to think I'm adopted, Nan. And that's just me being an absolute child and owning that narrative. And if something like that goes unchecked and you're not supported well enough with that, you grow up with problems and trauma and triggering stresses, and not everyone's out there like me. Another example of a little girl that I used to look after, she used to say, I hate black people, they're dirty. Remember, she's a little girl, okay? I hate black people, they're dirty, ugh, yuck, no. I don't even want them to touch me. And I'm now having to teach her, no, they're not. I said, well, why do you always hold my hand then? Why are you always with me? You're not like them. You're not like them. I like you. I don't mind your black. I don't mind your brown skin, but their brown skin is dirty. They're dirty. I had to teach her that wasn't true, and that skin's okay, and that it isn't dirt. Yeah? We have jobs to do as adults. And unfortunately, for whoever I'm connecting with, someone didn't do their job as an adult with you when you was a child and you was going through your awkward moment in the room. feeling like a girl when you're a boy, being too light or too black for the environment, yeah? I used to get worried that people were going to think I was adopted all the time when I was with my white side of the family. My nan and her husband, both white, and just me, and if we had any other extended family member with us as well, I was the only black one there. And it was always just like, oh, damn. And it was always an upset for me because my dad was never around. He was always in prison. So it was more so me being bitter and resentful. If dad was here, they would know that where I came from. Without dad, they don't even know who I am to you. Like there's a missing piece here, you know? My dad's mixed race. He was the missing link to identify who this white woman is to me, you know? I grew up with that for a long time. And I love my nan. She's one of the most amazing people in my life, influential. She went above and beyond to ride for me whilst my dad was in prison most of my life, in and out. Useless. Sadly to say, he's passed away now, so I should be nice. But we still have hurt, you know, and trauma, and may he rest in peace. But he passed away in a very sad way, and he's identified a lot of trauma about his race and what he struggled with. And my nan went through a lot, being harassed and violated for having a mixed race son, or being with a black man, laying with a black man, you know? So it's hard. I didn't know I was going to give you my whole life story here today. I really didn't. Damn, that was intense. I can't believe it. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe what we've just gone through over the last 45 minutes, 46 now. So we're going to close out, and we're going to thank God that we made it this far. And I hope that you understand the stories I've shared today. I feel a little bit touchy and sensitive, like, whoa, that was a deep share from me. I wasn't expecting to really go in so personally on me. It feels like a personal therapy session I've just had with you guys. So I hope this works, and I hope that you feel the therapeutic light source that came from me to you today. And let me just check. I've done all the cards. I don't even think we did. We kind of got to the Hangman, didn't we? That was the enlightenment. You've been going back and forth whether or not this enlightenment's really, really working. Because you was indecisive about something and you couldn't see, yeah? All the examples I've given you today should help you think about those moments in childhood for you, you know? Was there anything that you was uncomfortable with or scared about? Like that little girl who was scared of black people and felt like black people would just had dirty skin, like dirty dirt on their skin. How do we break that? How do we teach that child otherwise? That could be, or boys are smelly, boys pick the nose, boys fart, and girls are really lovely and clean. It's those stereotypes as well. Girls act this way, boys act this way. Could be one of those issues if you're raised by a dad only and not a mum. If you're raised by a mum and not a dad. If you're raised by an extended family member or in foster care, it's the way that we've been brought up, and there's been things that have made us behave in a very specific way that's not quite true. And once again, I just want to scream so much love for my nan. She liberated me in so many ways. The way that I dress now is quite like my nan. A lot of the jewelry and stuff that I would do and buy, and she taught me to shop. She taught me a lot of different stuff. She helped me come out of that era of being neglected and not knowing how to kind of look after myself and care for myself. The patterns and behaviors I have now, the way that I decorate my house now, the food that I eat now, really, really nan stuff. And it makes me kind of not only emotional, but truly grateful that even though maybe some of the influential people in my life weren't what was healthiest for me to get me to where I am at today, you always meet someone along the way who does give you a better light source, yeah? Because there are light and dark people in this world, and you will get taught by the dark people that dark is the way. And you'll get taught by light people that light is the way. And that is not colour related. But sometimes racism stems from that shit. And it comes down to us to understand what the difference is, okay? The Page of Cups is the only card we didn't address. And that is in the assets position. Very interesting position for the Page of Cups. First I've seen it since doing these readings. The asset position says this is your greatest asset. And the greatest asset is knowing that somebody is really, really sorry, okay? I feel guided to tell you that someone is really, really sorry. Sorry that they can't see beyond the dimension they're in, okay? So I get a white mum who didn't know how to raise her mixed race child or teach her mixed race child about black culture enough, or about her father that's absent or wasn't there, didn't make her have healthy relationships with the black side of her family. And your mum may never tell you that, or your mum may be in spirit, but she is saying, I'm sorry that you didn't get that experience from me. So I'm connecting to somebody who's mixed race on the line who is now receiving that apology from their mum through this reading. And that's for loads of you guys. If you grew up without a mum, your mum passed on, she's in spirit. She's saying, I'm sorry that you didn't have a mum in your life. Do you get what I mean? Like I don't get any spirit clearly coming through. That's just intuitive. It's the fact that the cup is here with the fish in it and that apology isn't budging. So even if your family are conscious, I know that person that's been abusive to me and done those things they've done to me, they'll say, oh, sorry 100 million times over just for the sake of it, for the hope for repair. But I know deep down, there's got to be some kind of consciousness that I'm out of the way and away from you because of your behaviour. So there's got to be a level of sorry and conscious awareness for them that they've definitely made a mistake here. And if they could go back in time, maybe they would do things different. And I don't need to receive it, I don't need to hear it, but I'm conscious enough to know that what they've done is wrong. And I've held the mirror up to them and said, look at you and your behaviour, deal with that, because I'm not. Don't you dare project your mirrored image at me. Don't try and bring that my way. Because there is no reason whatsoever that because someone stands on their truth and their healing, you start calling them out of their name and telling them there's something wrong with them. The fact that someone told me I'm mentally ill, you must be bipolar, schizophrenic, or borderline personality disorder because you haven't responded to me yet. 6 months have gone. You was nice to me before, and then you got rude to me, and now I haven't heard from you. I was nice to you because I was keeping the peace. I was nice to you because I was overwhelmed. I was nice to you because it was hard to believe what I was discovering through my self-growth, my self-love journey. I was waking up. And not only that, you've got the audacity to try and tarnish me with mental health issues whilst I'm grieving my dad who commits suicide. Are you sick? Don't come into anyone's reality. Don't pull up on my collective and try and tarnish their name, their reputation, their mental health, because they're not behaving in a way that you know and understand. I'm free for free. I'm grieving 3 family members in a window of 6 months. Come out my face. What is mental health when you're dealing with repeated grief cycles? One of those was my nan. The stories I've shared with you. That I couldn't have shared with you in the past because I would have cried because I was unhealed. One of those was my grandma, who also raised me. My white nan and my grandma, leading female role models in my life that raised me. My grandma raised me from the age of 16 when I moved out and stopped being neglected. And I moved in with my black grandma, who taught me how to cook black Jamaican food. Taught me about culture, who I used to dance around the front room with, listening to Bob Marley, who I used to sit on the floor with and watch BBC, who I used to sit and cuddle up with at Christmas and listen to the Queen's speech. That's my black Jamaican grandma, who's hardcore ride or die, who always used to give me money, who always used to buy me donuts from Greg's, who always used to spoil and treat me, who raised me. Even when I was a child, from the ages of 4, I used to stay at her house after school. She used to take me to school, pick me up from school. I used to stay at her house for weeks at a time, weekends, when I wasn't wanted in the family home. My nan, who kept a link alive and taught me about my white side of the family while my dad was locked up behind bars. I've lost them, and then I lost my dad on top of that, who decided to topple himself with heroin 5 days after my nan's funeral. And you want to pull up to me because I'm not behaving in a way you would like and question my mental. Now you've outed your own mental, and you've outed that you're sinister and dark and twisted, and you're outing, it's wrong. So I hope that you guys, this story relates, and that you guys find whatever on earth this person or these people have been doing around you to make you feel like you're sick and you're ill. Because for a while I was feeding into it. You're right, my mind's not right, I can't be right. I already see dead people, I'm already a medium, I'm already psychic for the other side. Gosh, there's so much pressure on me, my mind's not working. People around you feeding you negative narratives, telling you that you're the problem, you're the broken one, you need 12 tablets a day as well. None of that is true. None of that is true. It's hard to believe. The problem isn't you. And when you get away from these toxic environments and you really escape the maze, you start to flourish. I am more beautiful, more enlightened, more powerful, and I don't feel it every day. So I'll bear that in mind, because if you see what I'm looking like right now, there's a reason I'm not showing up on the screen. I'm a hot damn diggity mess some days, okay? Looking crusty today, that's the truth, guys. Today is a crusty day. But I see the beauty in me that I didn't see before. I see what the life I've built for myself that I couldn't build before with the others. I see the world that I've made for myself, and I see where I'm going in the future. And that has come from my independence. And that has come from giving everybody back the mirror that they were projecting on me. Every single person on this planet has a perception that comes from their internal. So everyone can say whatever they want to say about you, but it's their perspective. So you can't hold that, and you can't carry that like it's yours. This narrative today is so based around me in such a major way, and I like that for you, because I feel like I'm not telling you. Sometimes on these readings I really get bossy in my spiritual life coach, and I'm like, this, do that, this ain't right, da, 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 da. This is my life and all the hard shit I've been through, and this is what's made me who I am today. So what is that for you? What on earth is that for you on your reality? What illusions have you got to break? What mirrors have you got to pull down? What family members have you got to hold accountable? Who have you let get away with murder in your life? Because there's something you know about the standards you've been accepting and what you've been settling for. Yeah? Shitty relationships, toxic relationships, things that don't work out, family members, friends. I'm getting a sister over and over again. Some kind of sister. I feel like there's racist issues with a sister as well, you know, and colorism with a sister. A lot of issues. So we're going to call it and wind down. And I just want to close with that colorism statement again, whereby if you have issues around colorism, it's not a problem to address it. It's not a problem to say how you feel. I've got a piece out, some kind of articles out in the ecological report on the Hermitology press page. If you go into the description, go to press, hermitology.press, you'll see, or .me/press, the ecological report. I kind of do a story in there about racism. It's quite sensitive. A lot of people who don't really get the depth of what I've studied and what my background is in developmental psychology would look at it and go, oh, that's rude. Oh, you're being negative to black people. Oh, this, oh, that. But we all have an experience. And we've all experienced things. And it's important to share that, because some people will not understand what it means to be mixed and to grow up in a different kind of home, or to carry the stigma and label around what it means to be mixed race. Like I'm not signing off, and it's so annoying because I feel like I need to go for another 10 minutes, but I'm not. I'm going to keep this brief. But I'm getting reminded of maybe in 20 2018, there are a lot of case studies coming up in research. Okay, I've been researching for years anything developmental, anything about family makeups, genetics, DNA, race, religion, culture. So the studies that were coming up and the case studies that were presenting more clinically, which probably has massively increased now, is around mixed race. And it was talking, I think I said something earlier about it briefly, about the aggression rising up in mixed race women and mixed race boys, depending on the home environment they came in, and looking at the case studies around them because of the struggles and discrepancies around race. And specifically, that was attributed to single parent homes of either or. And it's sometimes really difficult when you're mixed race to understand, do I hang around with the black kids or do I hang around with the white kids? Where do I fit in? Where do I find myself in these social groups? And sometimes you end up being the only mixed person in the black group or the only mixed person in the white group. And if you were to go over to the black group, you wouldn't fit in. And if you were to go over to the white group, you wouldn't fit in. And actually, you're a bit of both, so you want to feel like you belong. That's also true of other social groups, because the Muslims will hang together, the Asians and the Indians may hang together, not all the time. Many different groups, the emos, the goths, the queer alternatives, everyone will mix up and hang around. The popular kids, the poor kids, the rich kids, they'll all hang around. I hang around with everyone because I'm neurodiverse. And I'm a chatterbox and I move around at the speed of light. So I'm in every single group at least one day a week. That's how I like it. But in our school, it's like, oh, there's the black girl clique, there's the Turkish girl clique, there's the Greek clique, there's the white clique, there's the black clique. I don't really remember a mixed race clique. And obviously there were loads of cliques or smaller groups that weren't necessarily, the smaller groups weren't created by religion, culture or race. They were just smaller groups related to your form class or your main group at registration. But the bigger groups, the groups that were the biggest, they were based off race. At least in my school. They were based off some kind of generic stereotype that led the group. And I know the black girls didn't like me. I know the black girls definitely had me on the hit list. That's what I was aware of. And that's because I didn't fit into the normal stereotype of what it meant to be a black girl, because I didn't wear the kickers and the cool stuff, because I was poor and I was neglected growing up. And I wasn't into all of the conversations they wanted to have, and I didn't want to sleep with all the black boys. Just quickly grew out of that. But that's a whole other conversation we have sidestepped. So let's get back in line and not talk about my pastimes anymore. But do share more in the comments with me. I don't know when this is all going to hit you guys, because right now our numbers are low, but these are timeless readings. So when you see this, whatever window of space and time this is in the future, hit me in the comments if you made it to the end and let me know how you found it. Let me know what revelations you received today and how you found this in your heart chakra, and what steps are next for you in your unique journey. Love and light.